All right, so yeah, I will talk about fast calorimeter simulation in Atlas. There's such a tool exists already since many years, and this talk is about an effort to make it better. This is a reminder of the Atlas detector. It's really a huge experiment. A fun fact, it's actually bigger than the largest dinosaur. And the fact that it's so huge is one of the reasons why full simulation takes such a long time. So having a closer look at our calorimeters. So in Atlas, we're using sampling calorimeters. There's different technologies, different granularities, and different geometries. So this golden part is based on liquid argon as active material. We have the EM barrel, EM end cap. We have very forward calorimeters, the ACAT with a very different geometry. And these gray parts use tile and plastic scintillators. We have the tile barrel and tile extended barrel. We have more than 190,000 channels, cells, which are organized in layers. And these cells have different sizes and different granularity. This is a snapshot of the EM barrel, where in layer 1 we have very, very finely binned and ether cells, very small. And then layer 2 looks completely different. Layer 3, again, is completely different. So this piece of technology is really crucial for lots of our physics analysis. Now, when we look at our simulation chain, so in Atlas, as you know, we start with the event generation, then we call it simulation. In the digitization, we emulate basically the electronics output, and in the reconstruction, we go from this electronics output back to real physics objects. So looking at these numbers, simulation takes by far the longest time. And also looking at the grid resources, the blue is the simulation. So the problem is our funding does not really scale with our Monte Carlo needs, so we have to speed that up. And most of the time of the simulation is spent in the calorimeters on the showerings. So this is how a shower looks like. The EM shower, electrons, photons looks rather regular. The hadronic showers look a bit more crazy. We have hadrons, we have an EM component, there's invisible energy, it has a lot of fluctuations, and it's larger. So Xeon 4 is our reference. This is producing the showers, and it's our reference, so it cannot get better. If we want to go faster, then it's clear that it will be at the cost of accuracy. So the idea is to have to improve fast simulation so that it can be used for almost any physics process, depending on what physics you want to do. So talking about the simulation principle, it's a bit low-tech in comparison to the previous talk. So it's based on a parameterized calorimeter response to single particles. So we have electrons, photons for the EM showers, and particles for the hadronic showers. Our inputs come from Xeon 4, and then we look at the showers. We are separating into the lateral and the longitudinal shower development. So we derive this parameterization, and then we run our fast simulation techniques on them. Our single particles are simulated without any calorimeter noise. They start at the calorimeter surface. We have 100 bins in ether, 17 bins of energy covering each range of energy. So we're talking about roughly 5,000 parameter statements. So speaking about the methods for the longitudinal parameter statements, so this is the amount of energy that the particle is depositing in each of these layers. And the problem is these energy deposits are in each layer, they are heavily correlated with each other. And it's difficult to model, so we're using PCA methods to decorrelate these variables, transform them into an uncorrelated set of orthogonal variables. So we have implemented this chain basically by hand. We start with the Xeon, we see Xeon 4 energy distributions, and here given for photons in layer 1. We transform them into cumulative distribution, Gaussianize them, and feed those Gaussians into the T principal class in root, and this gives us a set of principal components which are now uncorrelated. And then looking at take the first and the leading and the sub-leading principal components, these are the components with the highest variance, and we spin in these components, and in this way sort of classifying the showers based on their features. So we are typically constructing 10 bins, and then we are talking about 50,000 parameterization at this point. So we have now constructed these bins, and then we call a second PCA chain in each of these bins. So it's just like the previous one. And what we need to store from this method are these cumulative distributions, so those guys, the PCA matrix, and also we store this Benino sigma of the Gaussian system out of the PCA. Now, we have 50,000 parameterizations, and if we want to use those, we have to load them into memory each time we want to run the simulation job. And we are limited because typically this machine has only 2 gigabytes. And when we say we also want to run other things, then let's say we have 1 gigabyte. So we're looking for ways to reduce the memory that we need. It's really an important thing for us. And the way we do it, we don't store these cumulative distributions, but we approximate these distributions by using MLP regression. So we're only storing the weights. We're using one hidden layer, and we're using as few neurons as possible. So you run this in iteration, and in this example, with 4 neurons, we have a good approximation to the stuff, and we only store the weights. So that's really an efficient way to store lots of information. And then in the simulation, we go back with the chain backwards. So we start with random Gaussian numbers, feed them to the inverse PCA, and then transform them into uniform numbers, and then find back the energy fraction corresponding to this input. These PCA bins, they're constructed in a way that they all have the same probability, so we can just determine them randomly. And then what we see here is the closure test. So comparing the output of this chain to the input to the chain, the output is in red, this is the parameterization, and in black we have a churn for input. We're looking at the total energy for electrons, energy in the layer 1 for photons, and energy in tile layer 1 for pions, and it works really well. We get almost perfect closure. But that's before reconstruction. So now we have the energy of the particles in longitudinal direction. Now we need the lateral distribution. So how is the energy distributed around the shower axis? So we can describe this with 2 variables: r is the distance from the axis, and alpha is basically around the axis, and we do not assume that the shower looks the same in each direction. So we have these 2 variables. One thing to note is our inputs are given from Sharon 4 are in the hit format. So we have a very high granularity. We are not working on the cell level. And since we have hits, we can now bin the hit energy in R and alpha as we want. And getting the binning right is a key ingredient to getting the shower shape right in the end. So the binning is decided roughly at the same number of hits in each bin, a bit finer in the input and in the center. And then the average, we build an average shower shaped histogram averaged over thousands of single particles. This is an example for pions. And once we have constructed this average shower shaped histogram, we can use this as a PDF and then randomly draw hit positions from this distribution. And we do this n times, and the parameter n hit is really crucial parameter. So we give each hit the same amount of energy, so the energy in the layer divided by the number of hits. And to get the fluctuations right, we say we want the statistical precision of n hits to be the same as the sampling term from the energy distribution. So energy is given by the energy simulation, and alpha is the parameter coming from the data. And with this formula, we get fluctuations right in the EM showers. But for hadronic showers, this is not enough. It has been forever in the discussion because there you have a lot of extra fluctuations. As I said, you have an invisible energy, you have an EM shower component which varies from shower to shower. So every hadronic shower will look very different to the next one. So since it's difficult to describe such a theory, what we do is we basically introduce more randomness. And here we try to tune this n hit parameter such to get enough randomness, enough fluctuations in the shower shape. So if we draw lots of hits from the shape, we get something irregular, and when we reduce the number of hits, we get something irregular, and these subclasses emerge. And we think this is also an important ingredient in order to model boosted probabilities. So now we have the hits we want to assign these to the cells. We're using a simplified geometry. So our electrodes in the EML is folded, but we don't consider this. We just take this as cuboids. And the ACAT, it's a different geometry here. We have the exact geometry. And what we saw is that this simplification, so not considering the according structure, brings some difficulties. So we introduced this wiggle function, which basically emulates the according structure. So this is giving a probability that this is assigned to this cell. It's only one in the center of the cell, and then it drops. So one can do apply this wiggle function to the hits, and then do a closure test by looking at the energy here for pions as a function of the distance from the shower center without these non-uniformities, but with this wiggle function we get a nice uniform distribution. Now putting it all together, we have a prototype now finally, and we only have a limited set of computations, so we cannot really compare all sorts of physics processes, but we can compare the single process. So these validation plots are done after the full chain, the simulation, digitization, and then the reconstruction. In red is this new imposed Pascalism. In black, this is the GM4 reference, and I thought this is the distortion, which is still used right now at that. So this is the energy, the photons deposit in layer 3, and you see that this new imposed Pascalism together completely right. The total energy, we are sort of okay, but there are some discrepancies, and this is highly linked to the problems we have in the shower phase. So what you see here is the shower rhythm in layer 1 and layer 2, and you see the rest has some problems. We still need to figure out what causes this. We don't really know, but this is sort of linked with the total energy after reconstruction. Because of these problems in the shower shape, we also get the energy a little bit wrong. So we're still scratching our heads on this. Now looking at pions, the legend is the same as before. This is the number of clusters. So with this improved Pascalism, we get almost perfectly right up into the tails. With the cluster energy, we get it right. And this is like the energy how it's distributed perpendicular to the shower axis, and here longitudinal along the shower axis. It looks alright. In the tails especially, there are some discrepancies, but it's looking better than before. So I'm almost done. Just to mention that in ACAT we have an effort ongoing to replace all the parts of our production chain by fast tools. So we're talking not only about fast Pascalism, but also about fast tracking, fast digitization, pile up on the fly, fast reconstruction. And the goal is to have a toolbox that we can use based on the favorites of analysts, how you need these tools, can put them all together and make everything fast. The anticipated speeder once this is ready of several orders of magnitude. So, in summary, fast simulation is absolutely crucial for the success of Atlas, now and even more in the future. Pascalism is based on the single particle parameterizations. We are using machine learning techniques a bit on the low-tech side. We use PCA and MLP, but what we see in our prototype that it looks alright. We do have some problems with the EM showers that we still have to solve. Pascalism is roughly 20 times faster than Geon4. We still have to test it on the processes. In particular, everybody's asking us, will it work for percent analysis? We still have to show it that it's working. But we're working on it. It should be available soon. And just to mention, it will be part of the fast chain, which is a whole set of tools to speed up the entire chain. This is currently in development and should be ready for next year.
So this is kind of a question to all these techniques. So basically the whole idea is to Giant is slow, and we need a lot of events. So we need a fast way to make them. But now, how confident are we that the validation with Giant 4, with the small number of events that we can generate, is going to be okay in terms of physics? Do you see what I mean?
It really depends on your physics analysis that you want to do. If you want to do precision measurements, you want high precision of the simulation. If you're looking more like jets, you can miss with less precision. It really depends on what you want to do.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we're talking to the scope and not to the performance scopes.
Sorry.
Yeah, so each student has a set of variables that they want to make sure that we can model them correctly. So right now we have this problem that's very simple, but once we have a few more experimentation, we're going to go to the performance groups and ask them for further feedback and then try to incorporate this. Yeah, we want to make sure it's
Sure. No more questions? Okay, then let's begin.